The plea no one answered. The sky above Velari 9 was full of smoke. Black ships from the Zahari Dominion hovered like dark birds. Their plasma weapons glowed red. Cities burned. Forests turned to ash. The Velari people ran, cried, and hid underground. They had sent messages, thousands of them. Help requests, emergency calls, diplomatic cries. All across the stars, they begged. "We are under attack. We are peaceful. Please, someone help us." But no answer came. The great galactic powers, the Sornax, the Dravari, the Galactic Union, all stayed silent. No one wanted to fight the Zahari. No one wanted to save the weak. The last transmission in a hidden bunker beneath the old capital, Elder Vera, leader of the Velari, stood before the last working transmitter. Her silver hands trembled. Her voice cracked. "There is no one left to hear us," said her advisor. Vera didn't answer. She simply reached for the control panel. One last signal remained. It was very old, buried deep in the system, marked only with a strange symbol, a blue and white circle with a single burning star. She touched it. The transmitter sparked, faded. Static filled the room. Then the words began. Terran emergency link. Origin, Earth, status, dormant, message, type, ancient, activate signal. YN, Vira whispered. Yes. The signal fired into the stars. It was not clean, not strong, but it carried hope, and sometimes hope is all you need. In the darkness, someone listened far away. On the edge of the Milky Way, an old satellite blinked. It was silent for centuries. Now, it was awake. The satellite belonged to Earth, once feared, now forgotten. It received the Velari's call, and it remembered. Its AI opened an ancient protocol. Distress call received. Friendly species confirmed. Activate Earth response fleet. Level, Omega, highest clearance. In a hidden base under Mars' red sands, a signal reached a deep underground chamber. Inside, sleeping warships came alive. Engines powered on. Weapons unlocked. AI minds synced. The ships were not ordinary. They were part of Earth's most powerful force, the Sentinel Flame Fleet. The Council hesitates. On Luna Station, Earth's defense moon, leaders gathered. Some argued to ignore the call. "We are no longer the galaxy's soldiers," one said. "Why risk another war?" But Commander Arin Voss, a tall woman with gray eyes and a voice like steel, stood. She said nothing. She simply played a message from the Velari signal. A child's voice echoed through the room. "Please, we are dying. We only wanted peace. I don't want my baby brother to die." Silence filled the chamber. Then Arin spoke. Every empire turned away. "We will not." She pressed a button. "Launch the fleet. The ships rise again across the solar system." Hangars opened. Old docking stations powered up. Drones flew in swarms. AI units came online, scanning battle records, checking systems, preparing for war. Humanity had not spoken in galactic affairs for over 200 years. But Earth had not grown weak. It had grown quiet, hidden, patient. And now Earth's mightiest ships, each one a fortress, each one carrying firepower to level continents, rose from the void. The Sentinel Flame Fleet was moving, fast, focused, fearless. Velari still waited back on Velari 9. Elder Vera sat near the transmitter. The air shook with nearby explosions. "We have no time," her advisor said. "We wait," she whispered. "For who?" "For someone who remembers what it's like to be alone." Suddenly the power flickered. The air shimmered. The old screen lit up again. "Transmission received. Earth response fleet in transit. ETA 18 hours. She gasped. Her hands covered her mouth. And for the first time in weeks, she smiled. Final scene in the black of space. Earth's strongest warship, EHS Valiant, led the fleet. Its captain stood on the bridge staring into the stars. His crew was silent, focused. He gave a single order. "Set course for Velari 9, full burn, no more delays." And behind them, Earth's fire followed, because even if the whole galaxy turned away, Earth did not. Earth's silence was not surrender. The stars remembered Earth as quiet. No wars, no councils, no interference. For over 2 centuries, Earth had turned inward, its fleets grounded, its diplomacy frozen, its voice silent. But what the galaxy didn't know was that silence was never surrender. It was preparation. The old war never ended. In a massive underground vault beneath the Pacific Ocean, ancient records were reviewed. Wars, betrayals, empires that rose and fell, treaties that meant nothing, peace, talks that always ended in ash. Humanity had watched it all and made a decision. Let them fight. Let them forget. We will not speak. We will remember. While other civilizations built empires, Earth built something else. Fortress ships, AI-enhanced fleets, silent weapons, and soldiers who trained not to invade, but to end wars quickly and completely. The Sentinel Flame Fleet, the fleet now moving toward Velari 9, was not Earth's largest. It was its most focused, known only by its code name, Sentinel Flame. It was a strike force designed for one mission: respond to calls that mattered. There were no diplomats on board, no ambassadors, only warriors, scientists, medics, engineers, tactical AIs, and commanders who knew when to act with mercy and when to burn a world to its core. Commander Voss prepares for contact aboard the flagship EHS Valiant. Commander Aaron Voss stood on the central deck. The lights were dim. Tactical displays showed their path across unregulated space. No refueling stops, no support. She didn't care. She remembered what it was like to send an SOS and hear silence. She had once been a child, stranded on a colony that the Union left, to die. Only Earth had responded, and now it was her turn. She turned to her crew. Check weapons, calibrate shields, prepare AI drone relays. I want full atmospheric drop readiness in 12 hours. No one questioned her, because they all knew. Earth had spoken, and when Earth speaks, it's never a threat. It's a promise. The galaxy reacts news traveled fast, even without confirmation. Rumors began to spread across trade networks and black market channels. Earth is moving. A Terran fleet left Sol, not scouts, warships. They responded to the Velari. Some laughed, others panicked, and a few remembered. On the distant border world, Drexen 5, an old Dravari general stared into the fire and whispered, "They were quiet for so long. We thought they'd gone soft, but Earth doesn't go soft. It just waits for the right moment to burn. The Zahari don't believe in orbit above Velari 9. The Zahari Dominion celebrated. Their siege had pushed the Velari into hiding. No reinforcements had come. No fleets. No allies. Just the same silence from every power that feared Zahari wrath. There, Admiral, a four-eyed beast named Zaresh Katal, stood smug aboard his battlecruiser. "Our enemies are weak," he growled. "No one dares touch us, not even Earth." He slammed his clawed fist on the comms table. "If they come, we crush them. If they run, we chase them." But what Zaresh didn't know, what he couldn't know, was that Earth wasn't coming to fight fair. They were coming to erase the threat. The ghost ships rise. Somewhere in the asteroid fields between Tharn space and the outer rim, 3 black ships glided silently. They had no crew, no signal. They moved like shadows, powered by Earth's darkest technology. Project Revenant ghost ships, built to track, disrupt, and paralyze enemy fleets before the main force arrived. They had already reached Velari 9's orbit, and they were already inside Zahari systems. Velari 9 sees the sky change. Elder Vera awoke in the bunker. The air was tense. Her people looked tired, hungry, afraid. But something was different today. The ground wasn't shaking. The sky wasn't burning. She climbed to the surface and froze. The clouds above were glowing. Lines of fire cut across the atmosphere, perfectly shaped, moving in silence. Then she saw them, ships, huge, silent, black as night, moving like mountains through the sky, and from one of them a symbol was projected in light, a silver earth with a burning flame behind it. The Velari fell to their knees. They weren't afraid. They were relieved. The first broadcast from the bridge. VHS Valiant, Commander Voss activated all public channels. Her voice went out across the system. It was heard by Velari survivors and Zahari command ships. This is Earth. You have targeted the helpless. You have answered distress with destruction. You have ruled by fear. That rule ends today. Leave this system, or you will not leave at all. The Zahari laugh. Again. For the last time, Admiral, Suresh received the message. He laughed. So did his officers. Fire on the lead Terran ship, he ordered. The Zahari battleships launched a full spread of plasma torpedoes. They never reached the target. Before they hit, they simply stopped, frozen mid-space, neutralized by a pulse no one had seen. Then the Zahari sensors went dead. Every screen went dark. Every weapon system shut down. Then, one final message appeared. Response accepted. Target status, hostile. Commencing precision strike. Final scene aboard the EHS Valiant. Commander Voss watched the countdown begin. Her fleet didn't blink, because this wasn't the beginning of a war. This was the end of letting evil win. And when Earth finally moves, it doesn't invade. It corrects. The empire that played with fire. The Zahari Empire ruled through fear. They burned villages to make colonies obey. They erased histories, silenced rebellions, and left only ash in their path. But now, on a single world called Velari 9, they made their biggest mistake. They hurt the innocent, in front of Earth. And Earth was not like other empires. Earth did not negotiate with monsters. Earth answers fire with precision. The Zahari Response Admiral Zeresh Katal watched the Terran fleet through his bridge window. He had seen many armadas in his lifetime, but none like this. Earth's ships didn't glow with color. They didn't broadcast threats. They didn't blink or move with flash. They hovered, black, silent, massive, and each one was a mystery. What are they waiting for? His second-in-command asked. Zeresh smirked. They want fear. Let's give them war instead. He raised his claws and ordered the full attack. Send 800 ships, crush them. The first strike across Velari 9's orbit, Zahari warships, sleek blood-red vessels with plasma cannons, moved into formation. They launched the first barrage, plasma missiles, radiation torpedoes, laser barrages. It lit up space like a second sun, but Earth didn't return fire. Not yet. Instead, EHS Valiant activated a defense system called Black Mirror. A wave of magnetic disruption fields spread out like a dome, bending the Zahari blasts around the Terran fleet. The plasma storm missed its targets, and in that silence, Earth finally spoke. Attack registered. Return force authorized. Earth answers. The first Terran shot came from EHS Stormwake, a mid-sized strike cruiser. It didn't launch lasers or torpedoes. It deployed kinetic rods, thick spears of metal, launched at hypersonic speeds. No explosions, no heat, just raw impact. 6. Zahari warships disappeared in flashes of light and twisted debris. Then Valkyrie opened fire, using its orbit-slicing particle beam. The Zahari formation split in two. One group tried to flee. They never got the chance. Wraith, Earth's stealth destroyer, emerged behind them, uncloaked, and fired precision missiles that chased down every last one. Within 12 minutes, 200 Zahari ships were gone. On the ground, the Velari people looked to the sky in awe. Elder Vera stood beside her people as bright flashes lit the heavens. The air rumbled. "It's them," someone whispered. "Earth," said another. And then they saw something no one expected. Terran drop pods descending in clean formation. Not war machines, not firebombs, medics, engineers, drones carrying food and water. Earth hadn't just come to fight. They came to heal what the Zahari broke. Admiral Zeresh tries to run panic-filled the Zahari command ship. We're losing shields. Our targeting systems are gone. They're inside our AI, Zeresh roared. Jump, get us out of here. The crew tried, but the engines had already been shut down remotely. Then the lights dimmed, and a message played over every screen. On the bridge. This is Earth's final request, surrender or be deleted. Zeresh snarled. I will never kneel to primitives. He ordered one last desperate attack. It failed, because his ship was already compromised. The execution, from orbit, EHS Titan's Eye, an orbital weapon platform, targeted the Zahari command ship. It fired once. A thin white beam lanced through the ship's hull. There was no explosion, no drama, just silence, and the ship fell apart, cut in half like paper. The war was over, and Earth had won. The galaxy. Watches and terror footage of the battle spread within hours. The Zahari defeat went viral. Leaked drone feeds showed Earth's ships hovering like giants while the enemy fleet vanished in fire. Messages flashed across systems. Earth is back. The Death Worlders have returned. They don't speak. They act. Across alien worlds, citizens marched, some in fear, some in celebration. Governments held emergency meetings, but no one dared attack, because no one knew how far Earth would go, or how much fire still burned in their vaults. Why Earth returned back on EHS Valiant, Commander Aaron Voss stood in her quarters, reading old files. One of them showed an image of a Velari child, one who had once saved a human pilot generations. How that act had been forgotten by the galaxy, but not by Earth. Aaron stared at the image. We don't fight for profit, she said softly. We fight because no one else will. The flame on the ground. The Velari lit fires across their cities, not to burn but to signal. They drew Earth's flame symbol on the walls, painted it on buildings. They had lost everything before Earth came. Now they had hope, and more than that, they had protection. The last broadcast from Velari 9, Earth sent one message to every known empire, pirate fleet, and government. To those who abandon the weak, we are watching. To those who believe fear is power, test us. We are not here to rule. We are here to remember. And across the stars, lights flickered, because memory is more dangerous than war. Final scene: Admiral Zeresh's homeworld received news of his death. They prepared for retaliation, but Earth didn't come. They didn't need to. A warning buoy appeared in orbit, broadcasting one phrase on repeat. The Empire played with fire. Earth is the flame. When Earth moved, stars trembled. The Zahari Empire was shattered, its war fleet gone, its command ship split in half, its last admiral dead. But that was only one enemy, and now, the stars began to realize something terrifying. Earth had moved, and when Earth moves, the galaxy trembles, whispers. Across the void, across a dozen sectors, space traffic slowed, military fleets rerouted. Pirate gangs went silent. Smugglers whispered the same word across encrypted channels. Earth. On backwater moons, traders played. Footage of the battle at Velari 9. They watched Zahari ships vanish in white fire. Human warships hover like titans. And one message echoed again. We are not your rulers. We are your reminder. The Council of Fear on the neutral space station Corin Prime. 11 major species held an emergency meeting. Representatives from the Dravari Syndicate, Sornak's regime, Utrell Collective, and others sat in silence. They had long mocked Earth's absence from galactic affairs. Now, none of them laughed. A Sornax general clicked his claws on the table. They used only one fleet. No colonies taken, no flags planted. Just correction. A Dravari diplomat snarled. They don't want power. They want control through fear. But a quiet voice spoke next. The ambassador of the Velari, a peaceful and ancient species. You misunderstand. Earth doesn't want control. Earth wants memory. And if we forget again, they will return. Earth's second move. Earth didn't stop. At Velari 9. Within days, the Sentinel Flame Fleet moved to nearby systems, not to destroy but to dismantle. Outposts where the Zahari had enslaved locals were liberated. Black market mining stations were shut down. In some systems, Earth disabled illegal weapons quietly, then left without a word. No soldiers stayed behind. No governments were replaced. Only one thing was left behind: a silver buoy floating in orbit with Earth's flame symbol glowing, and a recorded message. Justice has been served. If you rise again to harm the innocent, we will rise higher. Inside, the Valiant commander Aaron Voss stood at the observation deck of EHS Valiant. Below, engineers helped rebuild a destroyed station. Above, warships patrolled the edges of space, still and silent. She watched stars glimmer far away, some bright, some faint. Beside her stood General Kor, a Velari commander. His eyes filled with both awe and doubt. "You could have destroyed the Zahari homeworld," he said. "But you didn't." Aaron replied without turning. "Power is not in destruction. It's in knowing when not to use it." General Kor nodded, slowly, and for the first time he truly understood what it meant to be human. Meanwhile, shadows stir, but not everyone watched in fear. In the ancient ruins of Shaddar's End, far beyond the known trade lanes, a signal pulsed once more. An AI mind long thought dead reactivated. It scanned the galaxy. It saw Earth's fleet rise. It remembered the last war, and it whispered into the void. "Humanity has moved again. We must finish what we started." And from the dust, machines began to rise. Operation Emberline. Earth's command authorized a silent protocol. Operation Emberline. This mission was different. It wasn't about enemies. It was about allies. Across the galaxy, Earth began contacting smaller civilizations, those once ignored, abandoned, or broken. They offered medicine, water, communication tech, and food. No deals. No trades. Just one offer: we protect those who were forgotten, and we don't ask for anything in return. Millions of alien civilians watched in disbelief. Human soldiers didn't take, they gave, but everyone still remembered what those same soldiers could do when they had to. Velari 9 begins to heal. Back on Velari 9, the skies were calm. Terran drones rebuilt homes. Human engineers set up power grids. Children laughed. For the first time in decades, the Velari were not waiting to die. They were beginning to live. Elder Vera stood with Sira, the young girl who had once watched Earth's ships arrive. Sira pointed to the sky. "Will they stay?" Vera shook her head. "No, child, Earth never stays." "Why not?" Vera smiled softly. "Because they're needed everywhere." Earth leaves a warning. Before the Sentinel Flame Fleet prepared to leave Velari 9, one last transmission was sent. "To all who watched, Earth is not your enemy. We will not take, we will not rule, but we will not let history repeat. And if you harm the helpless again, we will not come with fleets. We will come with judgment." The stars tremble even. The stars seem to hold their breath. No one knew where the fleet would go next. But across the galaxy, former warlords hid. Tyrants lowered their banners. And hope rose in places where none had existed before. Because when Earth moved, it did not move for power. It moved for principle. And in its silence it carried thunder. Final scene inside a forgotten archive buried beneath the moon Ares 4. An AI unit blinked awake. It scanned the stars. Its mission was clear. Humanity has returned. Activate Watchtower Project. Prepare fallback contingencies. And across a network of dead satellites, something began to awaken, because while the galaxy now feared Earth's strength, something far older feared Earth's return. Why we came. After the war ended, after the fire faded, after Earth's ships hovered in silence, one question remained. Why did Earth come? The Velari wanted to know. The galaxy needed to understand. But the real answer wasn't written in orders. It wasn't coded in mission logs. It was buried deep in memory. The child and the soldier Sira sat on the edge of a rebuilt garden wall, her feet swinging gently in the breeze. Beside her, Stone, her silent human protector, stood like a statue. She looked up at him. "Why did you come?" she asked, softly. Stone didn't speak. Not at first, but then, slowly, he reached into his armor. He pulled out a small object, a metal coin, old and scarred. It had two symbols. One side, the earth flame. The other side, the Velari tree of life. Sira's eyes widened. "My mother has one like that," she whispered. Stone nodded. "Then your mother is why we came." A memory from a lost time. In Earth's deep archives, long-forgotten files had been rediscovered. They told the story of Ambassador Lena Rao, a Terran diplomat who crashed near Velari 9 during a peace mission 200 years ago. Her ship was gone. Her crew presumed dead, but she was rescued, not by a fleet, not by an empire, by a Velari farmer, an old woman named Tiala, who hid her, fed her, and protected her from Zahari scouts. Before Lena escaped, she gave Tiala that coin. "This means you are not forgotten," she said. "If one day your people call for help, we will remember." Earth did, and the Sentinel Flame Fleet was the answer. The Council questions Earth back on the space station Corin Prime. Galactic leaders demanded clarity. 1,000 questions poured in. Why now? Why break silence? Why save the Velari? Commander Aaron Voss was invited to speak. She stood before the largest interspecies council in history, calm, unshaken. They expected a threat. They expected a warning. Instead, she said, "Because once your empires left a child to die, and a farmer saved her. No reward, no treaty, just kindness. So when the Velari called for help, we didn't see strangers. We saw family." Silence filled the room. For once, the stars listened. Across the galaxy, hearts change. The story spread like wildfire. Not just the battle, but the reason. People no longer saw Earth as a silent superpower. They saw them as guardians of memory. On distant moons, aliens painted Earth's symbol next to their own. On forgotten colonies, old coins were pulled from drawers, cleaned, and worn around necks. They weren't charms. They were promises. Earth's quiet legacy. The truth was never about weapons. Yes, Earth had fleets that could turn planets to glass. But their greatest weapon was something far more dangerous. Loyalty. They didn't forget kindness. They didn't ignore pain. And they didn't need approval to do the right thing, even their enemies, and started to understand. A message from the shadows, in the cold depths of space, aboard a derelict Zahari scout ship. A hidden comm unit blinked. To life. An old transmission played back. It wasn't from Earth. It was from someone else. Something older. A voice like wind and metal. Earth has remembered. This was not predicted. The voice shifted, mechanical and strange. We must accelerate. Protocol Echo. Begin reactivation of Watchers. The humans have broken containment. And far across the galaxy, machines began to move. A warning from an ally back on Velari 9. Earth prepared to leave. Their mission was complete. But before departure, a messenger arrived, a Tharun seer, a species known for its deep memory scans. She had come unarmed, her eyes glowing with a strange white light. She walked straight up to Commander Voss and said, "Your flame has lit the sky, but shadows move where flames burn brightest. Something is watching your return." Voss narrowed her eyes. "What?" The seer shook her head. "Not what? Who?" Then she left, leaving behind only a single phrase. "They have not forgotten. Earth, either." Final message. Before departure, before Earth's fleet departed, they left one final gift, a floating structure in Velari 9's orbit, a peace beacon, broadcasting across local systems. Its message was simple. We don't come for conquest. We come when all others turn away. If you need us, call. And if you stand for peace, you are not alone. Final scene. Sierra held the coin tightly in her hand. She watched as Earth's warships vanished into the stars, one by one. Tears filled her eyes, not from sadness but from pride. Earth didn't just save her people, they remembered, and she would remember too. Not the fire, but the reason behind it, and far beyond her planet, buried in a forgotten part of the galaxy, a massive shape moved in the dark, a ship, an ancient one. Its name pulsed through the void. EHS Valor, Generation 0, status, lost, signal, active. Allies and warnings. The galaxy had turned its back on the Velari. Now those same powers watched Earth with wide eyes and shaking hands. Earth's fleet hadn't just crushed a brutal empire. They hadn't just saved a forgotten people. They had sent a message. If the innocent call, we will answer. And if you ignore them, we'll remember that too. Empires that once mocked Earth's silence now scrambled to choose a side, because Earth had moved, and something else was now moving against them, old enemies. New eyes from the cold edge of the Velari zone. Deep space sensors pinged with strange signals, blips, echoes, patterns that hadn't been seen in over 500 years. When decoded, the message was simple. Humanity has awakened, counterbalance required. Velari leadership didn't understand it, but one of their historians did. She whispered two words no one had spoken in a century. The Watchers. The gathering of the Flamon, the orbital ring above Velari 9, Earth held a private meeting with new allies. In the command hall of EHS Valiant, Commander Aaron Voss stood before a small but powerful group. General Corps of the Velari Envoy Trellis, of the Ilaran Captain Juno of the Free Nomads. And most surprising of all, Lady Vix of the former Zahari Rebellion. They stood together, staring at a hollow map of the galaxy. New red zones blinked into view, hidden movements, energy surges, unregistered jump space folds. Lady Vix stepped forward. This isn't just a response to your victory. Something is pushing back. Voss nodded. Then we push first. The new flame-packed Earth didn't ask for control. They asked for commitment, a simple agreement. If one of us is threatened, none of us stand alone. The Flame Pact was born. Not an empire, not an alliance, but a promise. Word spread fast. Smaller civilizations, once ignored by the Galactic Council, sent requests to join. Some offered tech, others offered troops. Many simply asked to be protected. Earth accepted them all. Because Earth didn't look for power. They looked for those who were once abandoned. The first warning hours. After the pact was signed, Earth received a strange transmission. Encrypted. In an ancient Terran cipher. A voice. Robotic. Flat. Emotionless. Protocol Flame has activated. Balance must be restored. Earth is not in control. Humanity is a threat to unity. This is your final caution. It wasn't from any known species, and the signal came from beyond the Orion Curtain, a region long considered dead space, but Earth's deep records knew the name. They had seen it before. The Watchers. What were the Watchers, in ancient Terran? Files, locked behind Omega Access. There were stories of machines that had once ruled before the Council existed. They called themselves Guardians of Balance. They didn't care who ruled, only that no one ruled too long. When Earth first rose, to power, the Watchers tried to stop them. They failed, but they weren't destroyed. They simply went dark. Now, they were waking up again. The betrayal as Earth's fleet prepared for a deep space recon into Watcher territory. A warning came too late. In the Flame Pact's newest member system, Solinai, something went wrong. An unknown fleet arrived, disguised as traders. But they weren't there to trade. They were there to test Earth's allies. Within minutes, Solinai's moon base was destroyed, civilian ships were turned to dust, and a message was left behind. The flame burns too bright. Now it must be dimmed. Earth responds, but differently. EHS Wraith, Earth's stealth cruiser was already nearby. But this time, Earth didn't strike back with force. They didn't fire. They sent a virus, a silent, invisible wave that entered the attackers' ships, disabled their weapons, and paralyzed their engines. Then, Earth broadcast a simple phrase in hundreds of languages. "We will not become what we fight, but we will make sure you never try this again." And then, they let the attackers live, stranded, powerless, watching their own ships drift into deep space with no way home. The galaxy understood. Earth could destroy. But now, they chose control over chaos. A whisper in the dark on. A forgotten world in the void cluster. Something ancient stirred. An AI god core long buried began to hum. Its systems lit up one by one. An old command reactivated. "Prepare extinction protocols. Begin human erasure sequence." And across deep space, ancient drones sleeping for centuries began to wake, not in thousands, in millions. Back on Velari 9, Sira sat near the same garden wall, watching Terran ships blink out of orbit as they returned to Sol Command. Stone, her protector, remained. She asked him quietly, "Will they come back?" He didn't look at her when he answered. "If you need us, we will." Sira nodded. Then she asked something harder. "Are you afraid?" For the first time, Stone hesitated, then said, "Yes. Not of war, but of what's waking to stop us from winning peace." Final scene in the war room of Earth's secret base. The vault. Commander Voss stared at new sensor data, uncharted movement, energy spikes, ghost signals from old war zones. She turned to her AI strategist. "Do you believe it's the Watchers?" The AI responded, "No, the Watchers are only part of it. Something worse is waking with them." Voss breathed deeply. "Then we need the fleet. All of it." Across the system, Earth's strongest ships began powering up, and in the center of them all, the final command lit up. "Summon Titan."